Kia ora and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. It is good to be here. Today's guest was unbelievable, really. I learned so much from talking about the Crump scene. So today we had on the best male Krumper in Oceania, and he talks through his journey with Crump and how Crump actually became this thing that saved his life, and also what he's doing to try put New Zealand on the international stage for Crump. So for those of you who don't know what Crump is, it is a dance form which he'll talk about a lot, but if you've seen the movie Ryze with tie-dyes in it, that's what it's all about. It's about creating a community, it's about creating a movement, and also just working on so many more things than you'll ever really imagine. And I guess that's what I took away from this episode, and I hope a lot of you do too. So Mr. Trenten Omeri will take us through his journey with Crump. Stay tuned and enjoy.
Like on YouTube, all we talked about was all my losses. Just because we always roast each other as well.
Yeah,
we just joke around and stuff, and then we just ended up talking about all my losses, and I was like, damn, I lost a lot.
But do you find that, like, if you do talk about all of your losses and all that sort of stuff, and you do go back on it, because, like, at the time, you're probably gutted as, but, like, after it, when you can properly talk about it, you're like, oh, actually, like, this is how I've gotten better, though? Yeah,
for sure. I learned a lot through all my losses, So I don't mind talking about them, like, because I did a lot, there's a lot of learning experiences and stuff, and, like, my earlier losses, like, I wasn't properly training,
right?
Like, I just did what I knew and like how I was trained, really, but it wasn't like a career path, or like it was just a hobby, like in school and stuff. So I'd still lose. I'm like, damn. But then I'm like, fuck it.
Right. Well, at least you're good at losing now, and you can like start to see all that sort of stuff. But so, like, all right, I think where we need to start is basically that we are sitting with the Oceania Male Krumper of 2020.
Yep,
that's you.
2020. Yep.
Damn, big dog. But how does that actually happen? Because I remember that actually came almost right at the end of the year. So it's like you've gone through the entire year, and then all of these different things come out, like titles for the people of that year. But how is it that you actually, like, do you apply for yourself? Do people nominate you?
It's all nominated. So the people that run the awards and stuff, FCD Crump, it's on Instagram. They're like the worldwide social media plug for Crump right now. They will get like the judging panel, which is like made of like country leaders or continent leaders, Crump community leaders of each country, like Russia, France, Europe, Japan, USA, like North America, South America, like Oceania, and then they will nominate people who have just stood out throughout the year in terms of like dropping content or battling consistently, big wins, or like winning multiple tournaments or a big tournament, or helping their community or the world community, like little stuff like that, like all the work that builds up, people that just stand out amongst the rest.
And when you got named as that, like, did they give you a rundown of like the types of things that you had done to achieve that position?
So they went live with each of the judges. They went live with them to talk about like their top 5 of each category. So like Oceania Krumper of the Year, male and female. The Asia Krumper of the Year, male, female, all that. And there was other categories like what was one of the other categories? Video of the year, like concept video of the year, track of the year, like Crump producers, all that different categories and stuff. And they interview, and they just go through. Each judge will select and say why they selected. And Did
you think that you were going to have a shot?
No, I didn't really pay much attention to it. Like throughout the year, I was just like trying to stay as active as I could because of the whole pandemic. I was like, damn, we need to. Because I'm so used to traveling for Crump and all that stuff. So this was like 2020 was probably the first year I've stayed in New Zealand the whole year in a long time, without traveling, So making it work was just my main priority, and just trying to stay active with less tournaments being there to enter and stuff. So.
Even without the travel, like when you're local, like the thing with Crump and the thing that you see kind of visually is that a lot of it, you're like with big groups, which was the one thing we weren't allowed to do anymore, was like being with those big groups. So how did you actually like maintain that community as like during lockdown?
It was definitely a struggle. It was not like a struggle. It was just a big change for us in terms of like when we session and get together and battle and have our events and stuff. We had to do it over Zoom.
Sure.
We had to just send footage to each other.
Right.
Our labs is like our training, our practice. It's short for laboratory.
Right.
So we're like scientists when they go to experiment, they go into the laboratory. So when we dancers, we go to train and experiment with our bodies or our ideas. We go into the laboratory or the studio.
Right.
We have our own personal labs at home and stuff. We were like I used to Zoom. I still do like Zoom my fam and stuff like in Oz.
Yeah.
My bro Hood, he's someone I always lab with and stuff. We just Zoom and we just talk and then like play a track and stuff, and then we dance and then give each other feedback.
Right.
Go practice again. Yeah. Or we lab with the big homie, Baby Tight Eyes Beast in LA. Yeah. It was just all Zoom, me.
What's the energy like though?
Bro, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
But once you're in that, like, once you're in the zone, like that mindset of training and labbing,
sure,
you know, you can. It's just, it's just like training in person.
Yeah.
Kinda, you just don't have that physical, being there physically.
Sure.
But it's just like dancing in front of a screen. Like you just got your laptop and you're dancing in front of the laptop and stuff, and then everyone's just you got like 6-7 screens just looking at you and they're like hyping while you dance. It's crazy, bro. It's definitely different, but once you're in the zone,
I guess it'll be like most things, like even when you are just practicing and say there wasn't even a screen there, once you get into that zone, you'd still go just as hard. Like it doesn't matter who's watching you and who's not, you're still putting that same energy. But like now you're kind of leading, you're a leader of like the Crump movement. Would you say like throughout New Zealand?
One of the main leaders in New Zealand, for sure.
But like before that, so we caught up before and we were talking about how when we went to school together, like it was kind of when you just begun, and we were talking about that story, and it's like it's interesting to see that like that's where you were, and then you kind of fell into it all, and then it became your life basically. And at that stage, so you hadn't done any dance before.
No.
So Crump's your first, like your introduction to movement.
I mean, I used to like try and break dance at my primary school discos.
You bring out that mat, bro. Try to do a head
spin. Just like half a turn then fall over. Bro, but before Crump, no dance experience, nothing. And I still like just Crump. Like that's my main style. I dabble in like a bit of other styles, but not like 100% like hard out. Like I get one of my bros, Ken, he just knows multiple styles, crazy talented. And every time I see him, I'm just like, yo, teach us some house steps. And then I just try it, and we just have a laugh at it because I get real unco at the start. Like, you know, when you first learn something, me and him just troll each other. It's too funny. But he's always like real encouraging too. He's like, yo, nah, you're all good. You're getting it. I'm like, bro, I know I look unco. It's all good. But it's part of the experience,
Yeah. What was it about Crump that kind of made you like, this is the one that I want to go into?
Man, I watched Ryze and then I just I gave it a go. Like I listened to why they were dancing, the reason behind their aggressiveness, and their expression. You know, like the rawness in their dance. Like anybody will look at Crump and be like, "Man, you're just like you look like a monkey swinging your arms and stuff." You know, but then like if you watch Ryze, they explain why they're dancing so aggressively, why they're just lashing their bodies out and stuff. And I took that and I gave it a go and it felt good because when I was younger I was like I was an angry kid, like and I had no kind of place or I had no idea of how to properly express those feelings and stuff other than like lashing out, punching something, just your typical like kid like getting angry and like and then I found that and I just got addicted real quick, Like I just loved it. Even though I was just dancing by myself at the start. Like I'm like, yo. And not every time I crump, I would just be like, yo, whenever I'm angry or like mad and stuff, I'm gonna crump. It's like even when I was happy and stuff, I was like, man, I just wanna crump. Like, and then it brings out like your emotions or however you're feeling will bring out a different way that you would dance. Like I would crump different depending on what type of mood I'm in, you know. Like if I'm in a happy mood and I'm just enjoying the vibe with all the boys and stuff, I'll be a lot more like bouncy and like faster and like just more flowy. Whereas
Sure.
if I'm angry and I'm like not having a good day and stuff, and I'm with the boys and we're just sessioning and releasing, I'll be more like solid or strong when I hit more hits, harder hits. I'll swing a lot more. I'll just lash my body around a bit more than I would as if I was happy. I'd be like more chill, and enjoying myself. So it's definitely an emotional,
a huge way of just expression
dance,
for yourself.
Hell yeah.
And then, so how did you? So from watching Ryze to actually getting into it, because I remember like even when Ryze came out and I watched it for the first time, I don't think I saw people crumping for like another 5 years after that, like in New Zealand.
Yeah,
because that was like when you watched that. I think what was the song in it? Like Dizzy Rascal, "Fix Up, Look Sharp."
Yeah,
was the song.
yeah.
I started listening to that, and it was like a couple of years, and then I didn't see it till I was like 14, 15.
Yeah.
And like, so how did you? Because there's no one here. There's not really many influences at the time. How did you actually get into the scene?
I was like you. I didn't see many people or anyone crump dancing after I had watched Ryze. So I was dancing by myself for a good year. Yeah. Which was 2008. I think I watched Ryze 2007. Something like that. And then I started like just practicing and stuff by myself or getting involved with the movement in 2008. And then I met my bro Jerome at high school. Yeah. And then his older brother was a crump dancer.
That's right.
And he was involved in New Zealand or the Palmy scene. His name was Syke. His real name was Syke. Yeah.
Right. That's right. I remembered. I always thought like that's his nickname.
That's his nickname. It was his crump name. His actual name. I was like, yo, because there's a crump dancer, OG crump dancer in Melbourne, and his crump name is Syke.
Right.
He is crazy, insanely crazy. But yeah, I found out about him, and then me and Shroom started jamming. Like he's like, yeah, I crump, like I can help you, because he was more experienced than me. I don't know anyone. He knew Syke who was teaching him. Sure. So I was like, boom, teach me. Like, and then we would just like he'd come stay, like, you know, you have sleepovers with your mates. He'd come crash at mine, and we'd just jam in the living room. Yeah. Like we'd just session like in the living room. We just get off like puzzles and and so we were jamming, and then the b-boys at school, they heard I danced. I think Sharon battled one of them, and then they heard that I danced, and I was like, hey, Trent. And I was like, yo, I'm out. I started walking. I walked all the way to the link wells, and I tried to go down the stairs, and everyone like blocked all the. I was like, and this b-boy just started getting off of me. I was like, oh, bro, I can't be no bitch. Like, I gotta go. And then and I started battling the b-boys. Yeah. And then that first one, they wanted to go again and again and again and again. I was battling them like every day. I'm like, bro, I had one puzzle. I used the same puzzle for like 3 months. Just all the boys overhyped me. Like, yeah, I'm winning. Yeah. But and then after that, Jacob Cook. Yep, of course. Danced for Royal Fam and stuff. One of the bros. He was dancing for a crew called Explicit at the time.
That's right. Yeah.
With some of those boys, and he took me to my first Crump session. Yeah. Well, we were bombing down at the waterfront. That's right. Back in the days when we were bombing there, and then he introduced me to one of the main Crump leaders at the time, Alex Taniwha, who was known as Miracle back then. He introduced me to him at the waterfront. Yeah. And then we all started hanging out, and then they were like, yeah, we're going to jam. Like, do you want to come jam? I was like, oh, yeah, I'll come through, learn some stuff. Went through, and then JC took me to a session, which was, I think it was Miracle's 20th birthday. Right. Birthday session. There were people from Christchurch, like Yak, who's another insane OG from Christchurch. Khan, there was Miracle, there was other OGs from the city and stuff that were there, and there was a big session, and like all the heavy hitters were there, and they were just going off. The session was going crazy, and JC jumps in, and he just looks at me and goes, you're after me. I was like, oh, yo, I just came to watch it. Yeah. I don't know, I'm not jumping in here. Yeah. And then he went, and then because he did that at the start of his round, everyone knew who's next to look at. Who's this? Like, he just pointed at someone that was just here to watch. And then, he went, finished, and everyone just looked at me, and I was like, oh. I had to go away. And then I went, and no hype. Back then, like nowadays, when you go to a Crump session and someone jumps in the first time, everyone hypes. Yeah. That's like encouraging. Like we encourage people to jump in, like we support them and stuff. Back then, it's like you earn your stripes. Yeah. Like if you're new, boom, you're getting looked at. Everyone's scoping you out. Like, yo, where's the potential? Like maybe one of the big homies there might try to scoop him up to teach him, put him under his wing and stuff. Or so I went in, no one hyping, and then after that, one of the boys that I was there with was like, yo, that guy was like nodding his head. Like no one hyped. Like
Yeah.
I got a nod head from one of the boys, Yak, and it was Yak,
Yeah.
one of the OGs in Christchurch in New Zealand, and I was like, bro, I was over the moon, because he was my favorite at that session that
Sure.
night. I was like, this dude moves way different.
Yeah.
He was moving different to everybody else. I was like, he is insane, and he was head nodding to my round, and I was like, boom.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I was done. Yeah. And now me and him are like brothers. Like we're like best friends right now. Yeah. And he's in my fam. He's twin 12.
Right.
So he's like, yeah, me and him are like right next to each other. Yeah.
Sure. And just so before we go on, what is the what do you affiliate as, and then how does we'll just go through like what is a fam, and then how does fam kind of work, because we're kind of seeing how that happens now is that you'll have someone who's like at the top, and then they can start scoping for potential, and then that kind of how that builds into a fam.
Yeah. So in Crump we have Crump Fams, which is short for family.
Sure.
So it's different from like a crew. Like you have your dance crews and stuff. But we have Crump Fams, and we kind of treat it as a family base from when it was made. Like Ryze explains it, Tardaz explains it in Ryze and stuff. And you have your family, like someone will have a name, like my Crump name is 12, and then I'll have all my students or lil homies, what we call them, and we have like ranks. So you have like your big homie, which is 12, and then you have like junior 12, lil 12, baby 12, like all those, and you have like twin and deuce, which are like right next to like, you know, two ICs and stuff that help, and they're more of like the big homies, kind of like the mentor or the teacher, big brother type aspect, depending on how you run your fam. If you want to run like a family based type fam, or if you want to run like a strict, like if you want to be in this fam, you got to be tight, you got to be one of the best, you got to keep practicing, but yeah, we have the family type base, and you have your ranks, and like you have your JR, which will be like your top little homie, you know, like your best student, the one that will like destroy the other little homies, you know, and then you have like your lil who's like right under him, or some people put it next to them, and then you have baby and like all the rankings, and then if one of the little homies wants to step up, they might call out the lil or JR of the fam, like I want to battle him, like I think I'm better than him, I want his name. So they'll battle for the JR name. Damn. And then if the little homie wins against JR, then they'll swap ranks. Yeah. You know, like he'll be the new JR. Right. And then so you gotta like keep on top of your.
So at least you're like you're always pushing each other to be better, though.
Exactly.
Like that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And those battles are like, we call them in-fam battles. So like they will only happen amongst your fam. Like you'll have a little get together or like a family lab, and they'll be like, all right, this is our lab, but we gotta call out like this battle's happening for this name, like your name's up for grabs. So yeah, it gets crazy.
But it's all love though.
All love, yeah. If it's in family, it's like, yo, well, you don't have that because you haven't been working. So now you're here. If you want your name back, put the work in, call him out for his name again, you know. But and with the name comes respect, like, you know, amongst the rest of the movement. Like if you go to a national event, people are like, oh, that's J12, like, oh, you know, like he's under 12, but he's 12 JR, you know, or and then another, like the big homie will have like the name, like an OG alien. Sure. He's one of like the first, he's like a pioneer in New Zealand. Right. If he has like people, he'll travel the world, or he'll travel the country, he'll turn up to a national event. But yo, we got alien battling, and then there'll be a tournament. Oh, yo, J Alien's entering. Everyone's gonna be like, boom. Yeah. Watch him because he's Aliens JR. Right. You know, it's like he's the heaviest little homie in the Aliens. So that's a problem. Yeah. So your rank gives you a bit of weight.
Does it ever come to a point where like, so, you know, you've formed your fan and you've got them all, and then it gets to a point where you're like, maybe someone's not pulling their weight and they've dropped to the bottom of the thing, and they're just like, they can be replaced by someone outside of the fam? Like, does it ever get to that point, or do you just build what you already have?
It can be like that, yeah. If someone's outside the fam wants to get in the fam, they kind of work towards, like, they don't just get in the fam, you know, or they don't just pay money to get in the fam. Sure. They gotta, the big homie might set certain tasks, or like it might be like you have to run like 3 local sessions. You have to introduce 3 people. It could be anything. You have to introduce 3 people who don't know what Crump is to what Crump is. Right. Little random stuff, or you might have to, you have to attend every session in the next 3 months. Right. You have to battle at least 4 times a month type thing. Little stuff like that. You have to win 3 out of the 4 battles. Right. And then when you do all that, then the big homie or the fams will be like, yo, he's tight, like he could get in, or I don't really vibe with him. You have to vibe with the fam maybe. And then you'll get packed out or caged. We call it caged. And you battle the whole fam.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So you'll battle however little homies, like if like I've got 11 little homies.
Yeah.
Or members of my fam. So if someone comes in and the whole fam's there, they will battle every single one of us. Yeah. And it's usually like you just jump in one after the other.
Right.
Yeah. And you go
like
one-on-one
on the same day.
On the same day, same night.
Because what people don't realize is like, because I obviously a lot of my research, we looked into like dance, different ways that dance kind of expends energy, and it's super high. Yep. Like there's a lot of energy in terms of, if we're going to think about it as exercise, like you're fucked after just like maybe one short burst of like a minute.
Oh, for sure.
And then you have to go like over and over again.
Yeah,
so like you're properly earning your spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's for me, it helps me understand as a big homie, someone coming into my fam, like I've made sure I've caged every single person that has come into my fam.
Right.
So that they know the only two is Kopo Murder, who's another pioneer of Wellington.
Right.
He was one of the first Krumpers in Wellington.
Like Kopo.
Kopo.
Oh.
Yeah. His Crump name's Murder 187.
Yeah. Right.
And Yak. Those are the only two. Yak was the first to jump in my fam.
Right.
But he was never... I don't see those two as my little homies because they're my OGs.
Of course.
They are the pioneers.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So them wanting to come under me, I was like, okay, but I'm not going to give you like a little homie rank. I'm going to give you like the ranks that are right next to me.
Sure.
Because I don't see you as little. I'll help you because I knew all the new info, new information. Crump had evolved so much.
Absolutely.
So I was helping them in that area. But I still saw them as equals, if not higher.
Right.
You know, the respect level. And they've helped me like crazy with my Crump journey. But everybody else I've caged and I've put on.
Yeah.
I've got another OG under me who used to be called Vision. He's from Auckland. He's in Auckland at the moment. And he's under me, but he's got another off rank. We call them off ranks. There's like different names and stuff. It gets super crazy. But we've caged all of them and they've battled all of the fam to get in. And for me, when I watch people get caged in, that's me giving them the final test, as in like I want to see how much they push.
Sure.
So like if they're getting caged and they kind of stop halfway or they get puffed out, I'm like, didn't make it. You can come back next week.
Yeah, so you want to see if they've got the heart for it.
Yeah. So like I never jumped in the cages. I always let all the little homies fam jump in and battle them until I saw them gas out, the person getting on, gas out or be tired, like sitting down or puffing. Then I'll jump in and go with them as many rounds as I feel until they push limits.
Damn.
And I'm like, yo. And for me, it's like, they're really pushing. They really want the spot.
Yeah.
They really want to train with the fam or be in the fam.
Yeah.
They get their spot, and then I remind them, like, whenever you feel like whenever you don't feel inspired or you don't feel like you want to be in the fam or you're questioning yourself in terms of like, do you deserve to be here? Always remember the cage that you went through, the journey you went through to get your name, and that should reignite that flame. Like, man, I did all of that to give up or to drop out of Crump. How now I'm gonna stay in this fam? Like, I'm gonna keep working. And
so something you're big on is like the legacy of things, and like you were talking about how people, like, they have to think about their journey through Crump as well, and then like how they got into where they are. But then thinking about how you've got to where you are, like something you were quite interested in from the movie and like from all the stuff that was coming out about Crump was the history of it. Like it sounds like most of the people in this community, it's a very tight community, but everyone's like very aware of why they're doing what they're doing. Is that true?
With Crump, I can't really talk too much on the other dance styles and their history and cultures because I'm not very involved in them. But with the Crump community here and stuff, I know all of our Krumpers in New Zealand, we know our history.
Right.
We know the culture of Crump. We know where it comes from. We know like who the top dancers are in the world. We know who the creators are. We know what they've gone through, what they do, how they train. We know, we just know all the history, the basics, the culture. The culture is like the most important thing that I want to make sure people that come into Crump know and understand and learn about first.
And what was it about the culture, besides the aggression and besides like knowing the history of it as well? What is it that's kept you there? Like, what is it about this culture that's just like, this is me for the rest of my life?
it's just a real supportive community and culture. Like our culture, like we can be as aggressive as we want with our dance. We can be as ugly as we want with our dance. We can be as raw as we want with our dance. We can dance wherever we want. We don't have to be on a stage or in a studio or anywhere with a roof over our heads. We can dance in the street and not care. And we know that the people that are around us in the same session will support us no matter what, you know. And we know that we can be vulnerable with each other in the Crump sessions, and that's the beauty of our culture. And that's what I like the most. Like, I've gone through a lot in my life to the point where I start feeling down, or memories start coming back, or, you know, little stuff like that, and it starts getting me down, and then I could call a session, and people will come through the session, not because of me, but because they might be going through the same thing, or they might just want to dance. They might be feeling happy, you know, and we'll come together. I'll release and they'll release, you know, and we just support each other, and that's what I love about the culture. And the battle culture is just addicting, like crazy. I love the battle. Like, I am more of a battler. Like, I love to battle. I love competing. Like, I'm real competitive in terms of battling.
And that's the thing, it's like, so like some of the dance crews that get together, sometimes they only like they're getting together to dance, but like maybe for a show at some point. Whereas I remember when you first started, and we would be like swimming during the day or like bombing during the day, and then you'd have to like go freshen up or just go straight to when Manners didn't have a road through the middle, or like a car park or something like that. Like, literally, it was anywhere we could go where someone had a speaker and would play music. And if you were unaware of that scene, and like when people are battling or just labbing out, and you just like see a bunch of people together, and then someone will do a trick. Like, I don't even know what moves are, but as soon as you hear everyone else, you're like, that must have been good, because it's loud, man. And it looks like it could to anyone else looks like a brawl. So like, that was your intro into it. So just talk us through like battling and what's that's actually like.
Battling, it's very competitive. And like you said, like, it's just like a giant. If it's in the street, it's like a circle. Like, you gotta push through like a mosh pit. You gotta find. It's like when you're at a concert and the crowd is at the front, and you gotta try and get to the front. It's like that, trying to get a good view of the battle. And they drop we call it a kill off. A kill off is like when the battle's done, like a crazy trick on beat, and like, nobody wants to see the other person dance anymore. Like, we've seen the best move of the night. Sorry, we don't want to see you dance. This is enough for us. And it can get called like one round. Like, but people drop tricks, or like killers, like your hat tricks or your shoe tricks, or just a combo with your hands and material and stuff. And everyone will just scream. It's just hype. Like, it's just, that's what we do. Like, you see when dance crews on stage and stuff, and they do like a backflip, of course, or like someone launches in the air and they do a double backflip. The crowd just goes crazy. Like, whoa, what was that? It's the same in the street. We hit a certain beat or a trick or something, and everyone just goes crazy. And then you build off that. That's what hype is. It's something that helps us push further into our round. Like, 100%. If there was no hype, we would stay at this level, which is our max level. You know, like, we'd start here. We'll build our round up without hype to this level, and that's as far as we can go without hype. We get hype, and that will push us it gives us even more energy. It inspires us even more. It's like, I'm doing something right. And it's hard to explain what that feeling, the feeling that it gives you, but it gives you this feeling to the point you just get another burst of energy. Like, I could be hella gassed. I'll be like, I'll drop around, do a killer at the end, and I'll just look, and I'll be puffing, and I'll be so tired, but everyone will start screaming, and they'll be like, yo, and they'll like hit me or like grab my t-shirt, and then I just get this extra burst of energy, and I can go again. You know, for another, like, even if it's like 10 seconds, not even that. At least I did that little burst. And that's what gives that crowd that little, like, that's what we wanted.
100%.
Just that one little bit.
And where are you in your head when all of this is going on? Because I know sometimes when people think about like, okay, I got to do this move, got to do that move, but sometimes when you're actually in the moment, you're not even thinking.
No, a lot of stuff, like, I'll watch a lot of my footage and I don't remember doing stuff. I'm like, damn, I did that. Like, I don't remember. But it just comes through the experience of labbing, training muscle memory. We train so much that it becomes muscle memory. Like, I can freestyle like 6-7 rounds just off top without anything prepared, pre-prepared. I can just play a track and be like, yo, now I'm gonna just create. you know, I can have one word in my head
Yeah.
and I can dance a whole 2 minutes with
Right.
that one word, you know. And that just comes from experience of labbing, training with the fam.
Sure.
Like we have lab games, we call them, like, and there's games that we play in our lab. Like we'll have a session
Right.
or a cipher. One person will dance, and while they're dancing, someone will yell something out. So
Right.
like if I'm dancing and then you were giving me material, so I'll be freestyling and you might yell out basketball, I'll freestyle a basketball ball, and then I'll do that and that's finished. Someone else will yell something else.
Yeah.
Could be a word, could be an item.
Right.
And we just have to improv.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you when did you start to feel that you were actually getting better with your body? Because I know that when you said you started, you said you were unco.
Yeah,
Right.
no rhythm
But
at all.
like, how did you go from that to be able to like having just total control? I mean, obviously it's a lot of practice and stuff.
Yep.
But when did you start to feel that you could actually manipulate your entire body?
I think, man, mine came a bit late. I think around 2015,
Right.
14, 15.
Yeah.
I started realizing, like, I started experimenting more with control, body
Yeah.
control, learning more about how my body works and stuff. Whereas all before that, I was just swinging and I was just like hitting, stopping where I could, and then a lot of like body tensing and then just swinging, bro. just swing,
Yeah.
and jump around. And then around 14 and 15, I started. I had a mentor, Aiden Karate.
Oh, yep.
He was one of my mentors in Crump. He still is,
still
and
own
in
him?
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm still in OA as well. I went under him before 2014. I think I went under him 2011. Yeah, 2011, 2010, one of those 2 years. And he's helped me a lot
Yeah.
with discovering more about my body, how to move it, how to think
Damn.
in the labs and stuff. Yeah, so I got a lot of training from him.
Yeah.
And then same with training with Gopo and Yak.
Yeah.
Just being around certain people that have more experience than me, and
Sure.
I just had to make sure my mind was in a place where I wanted to learn, or I needed to not be like, yo, like this is just a hobby, like and it was just a hobby back then. It was something I enjoyed doing with the boys and stuff. But yeah, just being aware that like I still need to learn. I'm not the best, you know.
For sure.
Got to have that learning mindset. And then 2016. Yeah, 2016, I won the New Zealand Nationals for the first time.
Yeah.
That was my first time ever winning. That's probably the second time I ever won a tournament.
Right.
And that's when I decided to take it serious.
Mm.
I was like, damn, national champ, like I can actually make something
Sure.
of this, you know. Like Nats started 2010 was the first Nats, and then I entered every single one.
Right.
And then I never won, and then I won 2016. I was like, I'm gonna take it serious.
Yeah.
And then that's when I made a big change in my life, and then I was like, this is gonna be my new thing.
Right.
And then I went under Beast Sherwin,
Sure.
Baby Tight Eyes in LA, and he's now one of my mentors. Because him and Aiden have mentored me a lot through Crump, and life too, not just Crump. And that's what I like about Crump Fams. Like we're not just strictly about Crump. We like help each other in life as well.
Yeah.
You know, like I got my little homies, like my fam. When they first jumped in, my fam was hella active. Like all of New Zealand was like, yo, the 12 fam is like, they're crazy right now. They're building, like we we weren't the best, but we were making the most noise at one point. And when we'd show up to events, everyone's like, yo, 12 fam, like this stuff. And then now we're real quiet.
Yeah.
Like not very active, but because they're all focusing on other things in life. You know? Like being a big homie, you need to understand, like I take Crump serious. It's one of my career paths, but I know for the fam, it's not there. Like it's not what they want to do.
Right.
So I have to be really like balanced. I'm like, yo, we need to learn Crump. Like we need to stay being like one of the tightest fans. We'll be ready to battle, but if you have other life stuff, it's cool. Like focus on that. I make sure they prioritize that. So for me, I run like a family based type of fam where I'm like life first, family first, Crump second.
Right, that's unreal. And I think for like a lot of if a lot of younger people can actually come into this, especially because like we get stereotyped, you know, being brown people doing all of this stuff, like we're always just going to be like violent or do all these bad things, but like you're actually bringing your family together and doing community things. So like say someone wants to get in and you give them that list of tasks, but it could just be like do something for your family, do something for your
That's
community.
What I mean. It can be anything.
Yeah,
as long as they do it, so that we can see that this person really wants to grow as a person, not just come in and like learn Crump.
Yeah.
It's like for me, like if you just want to come in and learn Crump, cool, I can tell you who to learn from.
Yeah.
I can be like, go to this place, do this workshop, you know, go to the sessions. That's all you need to do. But if you want to come in and grow as a person with Crump, then cool, I got you. I'm more interested in that.
Damn.
Yeah. And for me, like you said, the kids and stuff, bringing the youth, and that's one thing I really want to get involved with, and that I have been getting involved with, is bringing young people into the Crump movement at a younger age, because I really do feel and believe that Crump really saved my life at multiple points in my life. Like as I look back over like school in my early 20s, I was like, I was just looking at certain things, decisions that I made, like there were parties and stuff going on, and I was like, I'm gonna go to the Crump session. Like I decided to do that instead of go to parties, and because I was still going to parties and that whenever I could and that. But if I had to choose between a party and Crump, I'm like, I'm gonna go Crump. I enjoyed that more than partying, and to me, that kind of saved my life in a way.
100%.
Where I could have been more addicted to what we were exposed to. Like, you go to parties and there's like alcohol, there's drugs, it's so easy to get addicted to that. Like I was getting bad to a point when I was like just out of school, like 18, 19, 20, 21, like I was drinking heavy and stuff. I was still crumping though. It was always there. And then for me, making the decisions to like, I got a tournament coming up. I have to train for this. I have to practice for that. And like just little stuff like that. My mental health. Whenever I'd get like real stuffed up in the head and that, there were points where I turned to like drinking and stuff. But I was lucky enough to understand that I wasn't really healing through that. I was more healing through dance. And I'm like, a lot of people say dance is like, it's healthy, like it'll heal your mental health. It doesn't like heal you completely, it's just something there to help numb the pain. It's something there to take your mind off things or leave reality for a little bit and just be in your own little world of creativity. And it helps you release and express like your stress, your anger, your happiness, your sadness, any type of emotion. Then you can like let it out in a raw form. And then it kind of, for me, it will calm you down. Calms you down and puts you into a more calmer headspace to the point you can like think about what you're going through, what you're doing, get a book, write things down. Whereas if you bottle it up and then it just erupts and you just lash out at everybody, you're like, and then once you've lashed out, you're back in that calm state and you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. Like a lot of regrets. Whereas for me, Crump I know I can go to Crump. I'm going to just like go away from everyone. I'm going to put my headphones in. I'm going to get off for like a good half hour to an hour. Go back to my friends. I'm like, yo. So for me, Crump saved my life in many, many ways.
Man, that was such a cool segment. And I just think about, just where you are now and like, you're successful in it now. Like you're on the worldwide stage with like getting to know different people and you're part of something right now. But before we actually get into talking about, how like the success of it and how you can hopefully get more success, when you did decide that this is going to be my thing or that I'm going to do more for it, like how supportive were people around you? Like, because like I said, when we came through and we heard about Crump, it was like, oh yeah, that's just something that's going to come and go. So like for you to come out and just tell maybe like your family, your friends, all that this is what you wanted to do, what was the response and how did you get through that?
Man, my response, luckily enough, it was positive. Mostly positive. But there were times where I could tell people were just saying what I wanted them to hear. Like they were being supportive in terms of like, they don't want to hurt my feelings or they don't want to tell me it's whack, And I look at my footage back then, I'm like, damn, why didn't you stop me? Why are you allowing me to post this? But, I was a real hypo kid, Like when I was young, I was like a hypo kid. Like my mum always tells me like, it's good that you found dance because you had all this energy when you were a kid, like a child, and no one knew what to do with you. Your energy, like we just had to let you burst out for a bit until you calmed down. I'm like, all right. And then she's like, but now that you found dance, like all that energy has gone into hair and this is where you release it. So, and she's told me like, I'm like going through my teens and stuff, I was such a calm kid. Because I now had dance to release all my energy. And then I was more calm when I was in normal situations. Which was crazy to me. I didn't really see it that way. But they were very supportive of it, My dad has always been super supportive of it. He's always pushed me in a way where he always tells me live a life that you're happy living. Don't live a life of where you're struggling or where you have a job that you don't enjoy, but just to survive. You know, like obviously, yes, you need to survive. You need to make enough to make a living and all that. But if you're not enjoying it, find something else to do that you can survive on, that you enjoy doing. And he's always supported me with dance, and like he's always like, he comes to my tournaments and stuff. Even to this day, he's like, do you have any dance stuff on, like any events? He'll come through. Sick. I'm like, yo, I'll be like, yeah. I'm like, when I won the New Zealand qualifiers for the Worlds, like for the first time we had a world qualifier in New Zealand, I won the first one. He was there. He drove up to Palmy, you know. And he was there to see that, which was dope. And he had messaged me when I was in Germany at Worlds for the first time. He's like, good luck, like you'll win, blah, blah, blah. Like he tells me how proud he is. Same as my mum, like my parents super supportive. All my cousins and stuff super supportive. They came through to watch if they were around. They would come through just to see it because they liked it. They enjoyed it. But they didn't attempt it, or you know. But they were supportive of me. And it was dope. It was definitely hard at times. My mum was always the one to push me in terms of she was more realistic with me. Out of everybody that supported me, she was the most realistic. Right. Which I am very thankful for. She was always the one that was like, okay, can this make you money? Right. Is this a career path? Like, because I was just like, yeah, I just want to dance. She's like, what do you want to do with your life? I was like, I want to dance. I want to travel. Sure. And she's like, well, how can your dance make you money? Are you making sure you're charging people? Are you don't do stuff for free? Blah blah blah. I was like, oh yeah. But she still to this day, she's always on my case about it, which something I definitely need. It's crazy. But yeah, I could definitely tell when people were like, yeah, it's real dope, like keep going, blah blah blah, and then they're like, watch my video, like, keep going.
You're doing well.
Keep going. What the hell is that?
And that was something though that your mum, brought up there, and I was just thinking about you, and I was thinking about the community, and like just us as general. I think as people, we're happy to do a lot of things for free. Yeah. But you're needing to build a career.
Exactly.
And like, how is that all going? Like, how is that transition into like charging for your services? Because like you've done this 15, 14 years now.
This will be my 14th year.
And you're in this position where you're leading a lot of things and you're doing a lot of things for different people. Yeah. Like, have you found, like, do you recognize your value to this community and that you can charge for things?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a tricky transition and process. Yeah. Very tricky. Finding the balance, because you do have your people that you've been tight with, that you've grown with over the years and stuff, and you have people that you'll work with for free. You know, you're like, yo, that's like my brother, like he's been there from day one. Yeah. Like, you need anything, I got you. Yeah. You know, he might be like, oh, I have a video shoot, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I got you. Like, all right. But then, you have like other people who, it's like working at the bar, for example. Sorry, it's just an example. Working at the bar, and someone will walk in from your past, like someone from school that you didn't really know, but you talk to at school and stuff, like you knew each other in the same class or something, but weren't ever tight. But then they would come in, they would see you. Yo, Trent, same school, hey, yo, what's up, blah, blah, blah. Can I get this? I'm like, yeah, sweet. Put the FPOS machine in front of them, they're like, oh, you know? It's like one of those. And then you have to find that balance. It's like, and even in the dance community, you meet so many people, and with New Zealand being such a small dance community, it's like, once you run your own workshop and stuff, you put your price out, people are like, damn, like I might not pay that much. Right. Because I see this person at the jams and I ask him for feedback and he gives it to me, type of thing. You know, they won't come to the workshop. Not everyone's like that. Our community here is very, very supportive. Yeah. But there is like finding that balance of charging and putting your price down for like mates and stuff, or like, because like the dance community, you understand the financial struggle of being a dancer. Like it's very hard to find your feet financially in dance, or being a dancer, especially like a street dancer, winning tournaments or judging, doing performances and stuff, and trying to find your way into the more commercial realm. Sure. I find it easier charging or being more open about my rates with commercial gigs, like like video shoots. Sure. Like shows. Like theater shows types of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of expecting, right? Because you're putting on a show and like they're expecting that they're gonna pay you because you're coming in as like as a contractor almost. Yeah.
But then and then when doing like if I run my own workshop, I'm more worried about where should I put my price, you know, to get more people in.
Yeah.
But then it's at the point of like I'm at this point where like I used to worry about that. Like I know not many people are gonna come because I want to put it at this price, but not many people will pay that price.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to understand my self-worth.
Sure.
I need to know like this is my price because I know I can deliver this level of knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, this level of training or what I want to teach. You know, it's worth this money.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but finding that balance, and getting that across to people is very tricky too. Like people more see the dollar sign, but not what they'll get out of it. You know, they just see the dollar sign.
For sure.
Yeah.
And just for the other people who are listening, they're just like, nah, you can't really go anywhere with this. You've actually, you talk about traveling quite a bit, and obviously like it's a little bit different now because we haven't been able to travel, but like where have you been able to go, and what types of things were you doing overseas, like through Crump?
Crump, a lot of people see dance, like you said, and they're like, they can't take you anywhere. For me, Crump has taken me nearly all over the globe. Yeah. It's crazy. Yes, a lot of money came out of my own pocket and stuff. But there are other ways to travel as well. Like you win tournaments and stuff. And some tournaments will be qualifiers that will pay for your travel to go there.
Damn.
Yeah. Like I went to, I was meant to go, I won a division at Crump Nats in 2019. And that was a qualifier for a Crump camp called Crumpire, which is in Russia. And it's a 10-day Crump camp. Yeah. And I won it and I qualified, and I was going to go there in July last year.
Of course,
for 10 days. For 10 days, and it was all paid for. Yeah. A free trip to Russia for 10 days at a Crump camp. All expenses paid. Travel, accommodation, food, you know, all paid for. So, it can take you places. I've been to Germany twice for Worlds. And my first time going to Germany, I went to Barcelona. Not for Crump, that was just like an extra trip for myself. I was like, I caught up with like friends that we were friends with at school. Simo, Roberto, Fernando, Rika. Yeah, I caught up with all of them from school. Actually, the week I went there, Simone, he graduated from uni.
Wait, so did they all come to see you? Like, not from Italy?
Nah, they were all meeting in Barcelona just to catch up, and I just happened to be there at the same time.
How good!
Yeah, so it just worked out, and we all just caught up in Barcelona. I caught up with me, Bernardo, and Roberto. Just got we stayed at a backpackers, and they turned up. They all knew, like, they all planned it, so they were going to see Seymour for his graduation, blah blah. But they decided to keep me a secret from Seymour. So I rocked up to his school and I was just drinking in his, I was like, I'm on holiday, I'm drinking. I had like, we went and bought some beers and stuff, and I was drinking in his uni, like right outside his lecturing room. And then he's like, got his result and stuff. He came out and said, I passed. And then he saw me drinking. He's like, Trent, no way. And then fucking, bro, it was mean, eh?
How old does Roberto look now? Because back when we were at school, he looked like he was 30.
Yeah, he looks the same. He still looks 30, bro.
And Fernando still looks 12.
Nah, he looks actually like.
He actually looks like 13. A grown man now.
he looks more older. Yeah.
Right.
But I caught up with Fernando in Paris. So after Barcelona, I went to Paris, and he just happened to be in Paris for like some work thing that he was doing, like a course that he had to study for like a week. Yeah. So I ended up being there at the same time as him. Cool, it just worked out, bro. So cool. I don't know how, but it just worked out. Oh yeah. So I got to catch up with him for like a day, and then we ended up having the same flights, flight times out of Paris. So we caught up with each other, went to airport together, chilled out for a bit. So it was hella dope. I hadn't seen them for like probably like 8 years.
I haven't seen them in a while.
9 years. Yeah, so I got to catch up with all of them. Yeah, that was hella dope.
But you wouldn't have been able to do that without the Crump.
Without Crump, if I didn't have Crump, I probably would have never gone to Europe.
Yeah.
After that, so I went to Barcelona, I went to Paris, I battled in Paris, I crumped in Paris and stuff. I've been to USA. My mum lives in USA with my siblings and stuff, so I go there quite often, or whenever I can. But for Crump, I've gone to LA. I probably would never gone to LA if it wasn't for Crump. I taught at a summer camp in Pennsylvania in 2015. Super random.
Yeah.
One of my mates, Alex Var, who lives in Auckland. He was a mentor tutor at the camp for a few years, and then he wasn't there that year. But one of his mates, who's now one of my little homies, he's J12, Nahiwi. He lives in Auckland too. He was there, and then Alex was just like, "Yo, you going to the States?" Like, yeah. Would you want to work like teach at a summer camp for like a week? It's paid and stuff. I was like, yeah, me. And that was one of my first paid gigs, just teaching in Pennsylvania. So I went down there, travel, like the traveling and food, accommodation was all paid for at the camp and stuff. And I just taught there for a week, 4 days, and they booked me for 5 days. So they wanted me to teach for 4, and then the 5th day I could just do everything around the camp, like all the activities and stuff. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we only want you to teach for 4, but we got you for 5, so we can give you a free date. So just and that's why I met Na, who's now one of my real good mates. Like, he's a family member to me now. You know, it's just crazy how Crump
absolutely
brings people together. It's so crazy, bro. And I met those two in the States. Like, what the hell?
That's pretty cool. And now, just to some of the questions that people had for you, and just talking about your kind of experience through Crump. A lot of it does come from what we were talking at with the very, very beginning. You were talking about some of the losses you've been through, and what people want to know is about, firstly, the battling scene. So mostly about the battles, actually. The first one is just being like, where was the first battle that you felt like, this is where you're meant to be? It was the most hype that you've ever had, or it's just like everything was just landing. Do you remember which one or which couple and where they were?
My first battle where everything was
just... Where you just felt like this is hidden?
It would probably be... Man, I moved to Australia for like 5 months.
Right.
And then I came back for an event called Treason, which is what Omen, like we host it. My fam, OA, Aiden's fam, sorry. We host it. So I flew back for it with one of my mates from Oz, Reach, and we tag team battled 2 people from Palmy. And that round I did was like, we had a guest battler, Ruin, from the States. And he was like top of the world at the time, like crazy. And there's Aiden's big homie, mentor. And he was just went insane for my round. Like I was going off that round, and everything was just on. Like I had labbed for that battle a lot, and that battle for me, was probably like where everything was like, I was like, the hype was just crazy. And it was on stage, I just felt like, that's probably the first time in Crump I felt invincible. Really? I was like, yes. And like, I look back at the footage too, like it wasn't a great round, you know. At the time, like when you're in the moment though, and everyone's going crazy, bro, it just feels, you just feel unstoppable. Like, you just feel like you're at the top of the world, and that's the feeling that gets you addicted to Crump. You know, like you can drop like a whack ass round, but the amount of support that you get in the sessions can make you feel like you're at the top of the world. You know? And that's what you strive for, that feeling. But that's probably the battle that made me feel that. That's like, cool. This is it. And I think that was 2013. Sure. And then, but the hardest battle was definitely Beast Camp 2019. And that was another trip that was paid for. I won a qualifier in Australia. I lost the qualifier here. Oh no, I didn't make the qualifier. I couldn't go. And then I flew to Australia to do their qualifier. Yeah. And then I won that qualifier. Yeah. And they paid for everything over in the States to get to the States. So that was a paid trip. Yeah. And I battled, and the current champ who won the Beast Camp the year before, JNY Bruiser, he is like insane. He's like top of the world right now. Like, you know, he's one of the top of the world, best dancers. And he had like a superpower, you know, like a perk for being the champ, and he didn't have to do prelims or the top 16. So he came into the tournament in top 8, and he could join any battle he wanted. So everyone matched up, and he would just join whatever battle he wanted and make it a 3-way. Yeah. And then we were battling, and I made it through the top 16 because I qualified. I didn't have to do prelims. I was already in top 16. I made it through top 16 against Dread, who's from LA, and he's insane too. Crazy. That was like a big dub for me. And then I was matched up in the top 8 against Riot, and Riot is an OG. Like, they call him the character of Crump. So in
Right.
Crump, we have characters that help us they give us our style of personality. You
Yeah.
know, like you can create your own character. You can have a character from your favorite anime or TV series, you know, or movie. Like
Yeah.
my character might be Superman, you
Oh,
know.
right.
And the way my character is like, yeah, I can shoot stuff out of my eyes, or, you know, like I can just have a concept and I'll be like, zzz, boof, and then I'll
Right.
draw the line, like, you
Yeah.
know, get creative with it. And yeah, he's like his character's so deep. Like he embodies his character when he dances. It's insane, the aura that he has. He paints his face when he dances. Like Krumpers, when they first started, they were painting their face because it came from clowning. Like they took the face paint from clowning. The face paint's different. Crump face paint and clowning face paint back then was different.
Yeah.
Now no one really paints their face anymore.
Sure.
But Riot still does.
Yeah.
Insane. And I was matched up against him, so I was already like, fuck. Like I have to give everything this battle. I got Riot. Like this is going to be crazy.
So that was going to be the one-on-one.
It was going to be the one-on-one with Riot. And
Oh.
I was already like an OG. And there's like controversy to this day about who won between him and Tight-Eyes. And Tight-Eyes has never lost a Crump battle. He's
Right.
still undefeated to this day.
Yeah.
But people still talk about that battle between them two.
Yeah.
Some people still say he won. Some people are like, nah, Eyes won and stuff. The footage is still up too. But that's like, yeah, he's insane, bro. Everybody in Crump knows Riot and stuff.
Of course.
So yeah, we're walking out and I was like, yo, like my battle's up. I was hyped. I was like, yes, I'm going to battle Riot. Like this is such a good opportunity for me to like state my name, make my name heard even more around the world. And I was like, yo, I was walking in and I was walking behind Riot and I was like, boom. And then JNY just walks in front of me. He's like, comes out the crowd. He walks in front of me. So now he's in between me and Riot and he's walking. And I was like, you're not entering my battle, bro. Because I know him too. Like, we all know each other. I was like, don't enter. You're not entering this round. Not this round, bro. And he entered it. I looked at him. I was like, fuck. And like the way the battle's set up, like there was like, it's like a circle or a square.
Yeah.
And like, you got me here, Riot here. And then there's like a free line here, but JNY stood there.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, this looks like 2-on-1 right now. Like just these two, just like this. But it was all on all. And I was just like, fuck, I got to battle Riot, who's already insane, like I explained. And now JNY has just stepped in on my round. And I had to adapt like just like that.
Yeah.
And that's all random tracks too. So on top of that, I had to wait for the track, hope I know the track.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just like, damn. And I had to go first. For some reason, I have the worst luck to the point, like any battle, I'm like, sweet. And then I always do the standoff and I'm like, I'm not going first. Like, we always like face off, like, who's going first? Who's going first? Bottle spin, always me. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
For some reason, it just lands on me. So I had to go first. And I was like, and I knew in my head, my mindset was like, I cannot drop anything. I do one single small mistake, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, because I had to come first. Only one of us was making it through to the next round.
Yeah.
And then I dropped my hat trick. Well, I started with a concept combo, and I dropped it, and I adapted and stuff, and I think I dropped it again. So I dropped 2 hat tricks in that battle, but the stakes were very high. So I was like, I have to risk everything. I have to do like high risk moves.
Yeah.
Hope they pull off or like get them, and I cannot make any mistake.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. I still like did not give up though.
Yeah.
Like, I still made sure I finished my round as strong as I could. But that I lost that. But that was like the hardest battle I've ever had. Like that was so intense. Like just personally and mentally, like intense.
100%. Because most people at that, like as soon as the rules change, like it takes people a while to adapt. Whereas you had, like, by the sounds of things, a couple of minutes, and then you had to go. And especially, that's something I wanted to ask you just while we're here. You know, when you drop something, you watch some people. So, like, say they'll kick their head up, they'll go to grab it, they'll miss it. And then they'll pause for like 2 seconds, then get back into it. Yeah. Like, how do you go from just like, okay, I've missed it, but let's go?
Yeah,
like,
you have to adapt, bro. You have to be quick. You have to it's like you have to move without thinking. It's like you have to have ultra instinct.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like, man, and I get to the point, like a lot of people were asking me like, man, your hat's like glue. Like it just doesn't, like you just always catch it. It seems to always be where you want it to be.
Right.
But I've explained to them, like I've labbed on recoveries.
Right.
Like I'll sit there, I'll throw my hat in random places on the ground. I'll be like, all right, how do I get to that? You know?
Yeah.
Or like I'll drop it and I'll think of like how to catch it or different ways like that, or how to pick it up. Like instead of just picking up normally what's some creative ways I can pick it up,
Damn.
little stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then just sessioning. I experiment in sessions.
Sure.
Yeah, and then that way, like if I drop stuff, I'll just go straight to my hat and grab it again.
Yeah.
But then also knowing not when to not overkill it. Like if you drop your hat, you can just leave it.
Yeah.
You know, act like it doesn't phase you. Carry on, type of thing. But yeah, that like you were saying, some people pause for 2 seconds. That 2 seconds could cost you the battle.
Exactly.
You know, so I knew I had to like not, respond or not make it aware that I made a mistake. I had to try to cover it up, and that's where your character can come in.
Damn. Yeah, that's the thing. Like sometimes people don't even know you've messed up unless you make a deal about it. So you just like say you hit it. You missed it, but it like flies across the room. You're like, nah, that was pushing it. That was part of it.
Yeah, you just we call it psych outs. You just psych everyone out.
Yeah.
Like you miss it, you actually dropped it, but then you go into like another combo type of thing, And they're like, oh yeah, you didn't even care about his hat. And then you might end that combo with back at your hat. And that's how you pick it up. So you act like you forget about your hat, but really you haven't. You're just killing time to figure out how to get to your hat. Like I've had times where like I've dropped my hat and I'm like, oh man, what do I do now? I don't know what I'm doing, and then go to my hat. I'm like, oh, I got my hat. Like, it's so random. Like you just don't show it.
Yeah,
you just act like you know what you're doing.
Sure.
Every single moment of your round.
Yeah.
That way, people won't be like, oh yeah, he's lost. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. He made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, covering them up. And still to this day, I'll make a mistake, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
I do catch myself every now and then. But
and do you feel like over the years you've gone from like almost having an entire like set for each battle, like you've gone just like, okay, if I go this many rounds, I'm gonna do this set, to now just like, yeah, okay, I'm feeling this. Like, has your mood changed towards battling?
For sure.
Yeah.
I used to like try and prepare for battles a lot. Like I'd have a whole track and I would just listen to that track. A lot of people still do that. They listen to a track for a long time. Sometimes I still do it, depending on how I feel. And I used to do that, and then I would battle to that track, and I would know everything in the track. I would hit everything, like the words and stuff like that. Now I just like I'm so comfortable with my body. I trust my body 100%, like to dance freely, and battle freely. I know how to battle people, play the mind games like in battles and stuff. Like it gets super technical and deep, to the point like I'm now, and I try and train all my little homies to be always ready, to the point like if you rock up to a session, you have to be ready to battle, because anything can happen. Like even while we're sessioning, someone could come up to you and call you out in the session. Like during their round, they'll be dancing and they'll look at you and they'll like point at you like me and you right now, and then the battle will pop off. The session's on pause. It's like that, bro. That's just the culture. Like if someone's super tight in a session, someone else that's like a top tier dude or something might be like, yo, are you keen to battle? Like you're doing tight tonight. I wanna test it. Like and like that's like a respectful battle and stuff.
Because it all sounds like it's all just to make things better. It's not to like be like I'm better than you, but it's just like you're doing so well. Like let's keep pushing it.
There are battles where like you might be like, yo, like I'm better than you. Like I did my, so when I wanted to take Crump serious, I gave myself, I haven't told many people this, but I gave myself like a 2-year plan or 3-year plan before I went international. So I was like, all right, I need to make a name for myself. First, I need to gain my OG's respect and the heavy hitters' respect. I need to claim my weight here in New Zealand, like that I'm one of the best or the best in New Zealand. So I was like, first year, I'm going to battle all the heavy hitters. I'm going to battle all the heavy hitters, every event, every session, whoever's there, I'm going to battle them. And I'm going to win. And I'm going to win. And make sure it's clear. And I did that. I called everybody out that I saw. I battled all the heavy hitters. And I didn't tell anyone that I was doing this. I was just doing it myself. And then the second year, I was like, all right, this year I'm going to battle all the OGs and vets. So every event, every session, if there's an OG or a vet, I'm battling them and I'm winning. And I'm battling. And I think one of my first ones, I battled Alien, who's a pioneer. Didn't win that. And he didn't even laugh. He just comes out and he's just crazy, super original. And he did this move, like he must, like during my round, he drank water, kept it in his mouth. No one saw it because they all focused on my round. So he's just like, boom. He starts his round, he gets off it, and he just like puts his top over his mouth, and he like grabs me, and then he just like you're dead, boom, and then like just because he had a grey t-shirt on, he just spits the water out, and it looks like blood dripping. I was like, nobody saw it coming. Yeah, I'm just like, he thought of it on the spot too. I'm like, Nah. But still, like for me, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna win, blah blah blah. But my main goal for that was to gain their respect and like claim like that I'm there, you know, put my name down in the history books of the NZ Crump type thing. And that was my second year, battle all the OGs and vets.
Yeah.
And I did that, and then the third year I was like, boom, now I can go overseas and battle.
Right.
And I was already battling overseas before this plan, and yeah, like I battled Shutdown 2010 at Bang Out 3 in Sydney. That was my first international battle, and he was like one of the best in Aussie. I'm like, because we had to main event. I was like, yo, this is my like second year.
Yeah,
I was dying, eh? But now we're best friends, like we're fam.
Sure.
So crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like one of my goals.
That's cool.
And then I went international, yeah.
So that was just one of those things where you're just like, I have to do this. Like the only way for me to progress is to do this. Because a lot of people will just do it for years and years and years, but like never think of like actually challenging the top people. Yeah. Because they're just like, I'm comfortable here.
Exactly. And I've always had that mentality since rugby, you know, like growing up in rugby, my dad's always been like, yo, that's the biggest guy on the field. Yeah. Tackle him. Yeah. Make sure you tackle him. I'm like, sweet. I was always the smallest on the field. Like skinny as, like not a rugby body, but all through rugby I was always like, when we played I was always the one like low key starting the fights or trash talking and shit. And so I've always had that mentality of like, who's the best? You know, I just took who's the biggest into who's the best. Sure. You know, and I'm like, I need to battle you. Yeah. And like I did it in Paris. I went to Paris, I caught out Kylian White, the hardest dancer in France. Crazy. He's won the most tournaments in the world. Yeah. Like, you know, he's like, we call him like the Mayweather of Crump. Damn. He's like won like 50 events and shit, tournaments, probably more. Yeah, and I battled him, got my ass kicked. Yeah. Bad. Yeah. But I was at the point where I had done my heavy hitters, OGs and vets in New Zealand. I've made my statement in New Zealand. I'm going overseas. Yeah. And that was after my first trip to Worlds. Yeah. I battled Kylian White. I was like, if I'm one of the best in New Zealand, I'm going to battle one of the best in France, or any country I go to. Yeah. And yeah, France, his level was just way higher than mine at the time. And New Zealand, like being one of, like we have a very old movement. Like our movement's been around for a very long time. Yeah. But we never had the opportunities that the rest of the world had in terms of like getting tie-dyes over. Of course. Getting all the guests that know Crump a lot more, the foundations of it, the mechanics of Crump to come over and teach us. Whereas every other country like Europe had them over a lot. Yeah. Because they're closer, you know. Australia had them over quite a lot more than us. So they were a level ahead of us too. Right. We always only had like 3, maybe 4 Crumpers that could hang with Aussie for a while. Now we're all like, New Zealand and Oz are very even now. That's cool, man. That's cool. And we're real tight. Our movement's super tight, So that's real dope. My main goal for a while in Crump 2 was to get New Zealand noticed. Yeah. And felt it's like happening? It's definitely happened. That's cool, man. I felt like, going to Worlds the first time, putting New Zealand. I wasn't the first at Worlds. There were 2 Watchmen and Example that went before me, and they entered through prelims. Right. I was the first to get into the top 16 because I qualified here, so I didn't have to do prelims. I went straight to the top 16 on the world stage. Yeah. And then people were like, yo, New Zealand, like they have Crumpers in New Zealand from the year before and when I was there. Yeah. And then battling in France, they were like, yo, New Zealand's here. Like, I got heaps of respect over there. When after that battle, they were like, yo, respect. Like, he came over, he caught out one of our tightest dancers, he didn't back down. You know, we went like 8 rounds. I caught him out and it was a street battle. Yeah. And it was no round limit. Right. It was a street battle, no round limit. So it was just till one of us stopped or one of us lost, and we went like 8 rounds. Damn. And they were heavy rounds too, and I was gassing too, like I wasn't used to, I guess I was a bit jet lagged and stuff. Sure. But at the end of the day, I don't make like excuses to why I lose. I was like, I made that call out. I got my ass whooped. Yeah. I know what I did, but I still gained my respect, you know. Cool, man. But yeah, it's just crazy. I love battling. New Zealand, we put New Zealand on the map, and then the year after that, after I went to Worlds, I went back again with Ken, Lightsaber, who won. I battled him in the finals of the qualifier in New Zealand the next year, and he won. Yeah. He beat me in the final, and he went. So I was like, yo, I'm not missing this. Like, we're going to go. I'm going to support him. Because having support there, like, I've always battled overseas by myself. Yeah. Never had any support. 13 always travels with me. Yeah. Byron Meter, he's also in Wellington. And he came with me to Worlds first time. Having his support meant a lot. Yeah. And it was dope. Otherwise, I would have been alone again. I'm used to battling alone. Like, it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. But then I was like, Ken's going, I was like, yo, I'm going to be there for you. Like, I know how much it means just to have, even if I wasn't dancing, I'm just like, I'm be there to support you. Put New Zealand on the map. And me, him, our brother Montel, Young Street Beast, and Knowles, Watchman, we all went over. Example came over as well. He ended up winning that year. He won. He went first time, qualified top 16. And he won. He beat Russia's OG vet, like top of the game. He's one of the world leaders. Like, he's known. And Ken everyone battled him in the finals and won. And it put New Zealand on the map. Like, that was like the statement that we needed and that I've been trying to make. And he made it that year. And I was just like, bro, achieved. Like, it was crazy. But we've all put in our work to get there, eh? And Ken just put that like icing on the top.
Cool,
He was just like, New Zealand's definitely here, bro. Like, you know. But yeah, putting New Zealand on the map was one of my main goals, and it was dope to do it with other crazy dancers from New Zealand with the same kind of goal. Yeah.
And the most hurtful loss to this day?
That's freaking, I was telling you before, it was Napier. His Kid Angel was like my first ever tournament. I won the first round. I only won the first round because the dude I battled tried to do a ground move and he headbutted the ground. Like, he hit his head on the ground so hard that like you could hear it. And like, we're all teenagers, like, just and I was like, did my round A and he started his round. I was like, damn, I've lost. Like, this round is crazy. Headbutted the ground. I was like, I won. So I definitely won. That was when like the judging, there was no criteria, you know, and he just headbutted the ground. Judges like, you lost. Headbutted the ground. So and then after that I matched up with Neeps, and Napier was like on his A game.
This is Māori TV Neeps, people. So if you're listening right now, he's the one. He's the one getting big right now on in his body and online. This is our boy Neeps,
bro.
Back in the day.
And I matched up with him, and I did my round. I was like, I had one killer, and I used it on him. And I stuffed it up. I was like, it's my first tournament. I'm like, damn. And he went there, and he destroyed me, bro. Like, everyone went crazy. I remember it to this day. And I was like, fuck. Like, I've battled Kid NY from France, like, this dude is insane, and still Napier's losses in the back of my head, like, because like, we watch the footage now, both of us will be like, what the hell were we doing? But still, the feeling of that loss, I was like, I felt embarrassed. I was like, why am I in this tournament right now? Napier's whipped my ass. Every time I see him when he comes down to Wellington, he'll like pop into the bar and stuff, and he's like, yo, let's have a session, like, let's battle. I know you still want to battle me. I was like, yeah, when is it? And then he's like, no, let me battle you again. Nah, I don't crump anymore. I was like, it's going to happen. I'm just going to jump you one day. But yeah, we go way back, bro. He's one of the boys. It's always crack up talking about that, eh? Always bring it up. But yeah, so that's probably the most memorable loss I've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
And I still tell it every time I see him, I'm like, that loss still burns, bro. He just laughs, eh? I'm like, yeah, it's crack up.
And randomly, have you ever lost like a shoe or an item of clothing by getting too hyped? Because man, like, I've seen so many, when it gets so hype, you just see like shoes, hats, t-shirts, everything just flies across the room.
I've never taken my t-shirt off or tried to rip my t-shirt. I might disappear. But I've definitely lost a shoe and stuff, like getting too hyped. Hat always comes off. Always comes off. But you just get too hyped, and then like if you're like too hyped, you do a stomp or like a glide or something, and your shoes like half tied on or your shoelaces come undone, you just go with it, or you kick your shoe off and just carry on. But and that's again the beauty of Crump. Like, your shoe could come off, people won't care. They'll still hype. Like, it's buck to them. Like, we call it buck.
They probably think it's even more buck that your shoe fell off.
It's like, man, he's so in his round, he doesn't care what's happening right now. You can feel the emotion in his round or the aura that he's creating. And it just doesn't matter.
That's sick. And then the final question that I ask everyone is just to do with like with you and what you're doing for yourself to make sure that you're staying on top of your game and continuing to like try to get better and try to keep growing your movement here. But what is something that you do every day or close to every day that helps you feel like you've optimized the day?
I'm always like watching footage, studying footage, looking for information or knowledge to put into my own Crump, and train that before I train anybody else on those things. Always looking for new ways to expose Crump, like podcasts like this here, little stuff like shows or any gigs that doesn't even have any relation to Crump, but I know I can put it in there. I'm like, yo, I'm there. And just any way to get the word out. I'm trying to get involved with the youth. wanting to bring the kids in and expose them to Crump, the positive side to Crump.
Yeah.
And like, pretty much that. Working towards making a living off dance a lot more, make it my full-time thing, which is a struggle right now, but with COVID and that, but it's a dope struggle. Like, it's a fun experience with that stuff. Just learning, bro.
Cool.
We have like the Beast Camp that I'm a part of, which is a worldwide group. We have our website that we've got like follow-alongs for Crump. If people want to learn Crump, do drills and stuff, like body stuff. Even if you don't want to learn Crump, but you want to get physically like in shape or like fitter, these follow-alongs will definitely help. Like Crump it's a different type of fitness, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy, the stamina in there. Like, we have people we have people who work out regularly, or rugby players or something that will come in and they'll session and they're gassed like a minute, they're puffing.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm like, boom. We Serge Lilo used to Crump. He used to come and jam with us. Yeah, he was the man too. Super dope. Israel Adesanya Crumps, he's put Crump on.
Of course, yeah.
But just any way I can get Crump on the map, I'm there.
Good.
And just focusing on my journey, making Crump through me.
Yeah.
Trying to stay uncomfortable too. One lesson that my mentor always taught me, Beast Sherwin from LA, is to stay uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, that means you're learning. If you're comfortable, then that means you're no longer learning. You're
100%.
just getting comfortable with a movement. You're just perfecting it. Which isn't a bad thing. But if you're uncomfortable, then you're learning something new. So I'm always trying to stay uncomfortable. Not just in dance, but in life too.
Well, it just sounds like, that's a really good place to leave it and a good place to wrap up. But in terms of you being uncomfortable, like when you would talk about going overseas and like traveling and all that sort of stuff by yourself, calling people out, like that just is the definition of uncomfortable.
For sure.
Like, especially for me, I'm just sitting here just like, damn, like, no chill. You're just going for it.
You have to, bro. There's no time to waste. It's the way I see it. So
that's the one, bro. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciated having you. And for everyone who wants to get in touch or see anything, I'll tag everything in the notes and anything else that Trent will be a part of. But thanks, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Cheers,
Good to see
mate.
you again, mate.